Hey, how you doing today? I'm way out here on the very back edge of our property. Our house is about a fifth of a mile that way or so, and you can see a farmer field behind me. And there's a big reason why I'm right here today, that something's got me upset, and nothing ever gets me upset. So my blood pressure was boiling the last couple days. I really want to share that with you with some personal experience and what's going on. So let's just talk about that, right? Welcome to Goose Pond Hideout, and I'm Rob, right? All right, so again, I'm at the back edge of our property, and if you know, somewhere right in this area here, you see a shiny roof, and that's a dollar store. And that's important, because if you walk from our house up to the corner and then walk along the road, and you might be able to see cars on the main road out there back behind me. It's 1 mile to that dollar store from our house if you walk. And so you probably know what I'm getting to is down in Georgia, and evidently it was more rural Georgia, and all I know is what I've read in the mainstream media, and you can, you know, as far as you can kick them is what you can believe what they say. But the basic story, that to make my point that I want to share with chatting with you here today, is a woman took one of her older kids to the doctor, and she left her 10-year-old, who was just days from being 11, literally a few days from being 11 years old, at home. And the, almost 11-year-old boy decided to walk to the dollar store, and the police caught him like 9/10 of a mile from home, and they brought him home and dropped him off, and that was that. Then they come back, they show up later, and they arrest the mom, put her in handcuffs, haul her away in front of her kids for neglect or whatever they came up with as an excuse. And I'm losing my mind, because my generation, we walked to school from kindergarten through 12th grade. Didn't matter how far the school was. You said bye to mom in the morning and you walked up to school, and then when school got done, you walked home. From 5-year-old kids on our own. And most of us, probably you, we do what we call free range in our kids. And a story that happened to us back in 2005, right after Katrina, we were living on our sailboat, and we were in a marina because we'd had some damage, mostly cosmetic, just scratching up the hull. There were some holes punched in the front from the winch of a racing boat, but our boat was solid and good and seaworthy. I just needed to do some repairs. And we think that it was Red Cross that turned us in, and because our youngest son was with us, and he was, young, school-aged at the time, and we got investigated, and my wife got interviewed by, human services or whoever showed up. And of course, for us, we were laughing about it at the time, because, we were on a sailboat, right? So we just moved our sailboat, and that was the end of that. But, this woman, it's too much government overreach. And I'm not sure how that, we can deal with it other than putting our foot down, and, she's fighting it. They tried to get her to sign some sort of contract agreement that she'd take better care of her kids and put a GPS tracker on her son. And again, I grew up free range. Saturday morning, mom kicked us out of the house and told us not to come home till the street lights came on. And, we rode our bikes all over. We went into town. We might go to the library, go play in the creek. That's how you learn to become an adult. And it was, I think, a little Charlie Brown meme that you see every once in a while on social media. But basically, Charlie Brown says, getting to the point, is that stupid should hurt. And that's what, when you're little and your mom tells you the stove is hot, and when she turns around the other way, you touch the stove, and so now you know what hot is. You learn life when the pain of making a mistake is small. You climb a tree and you fall out and you hurt yourself. You ride your bike and you do a yard sale because you're, rode down a hill too fast or something like that. And you learn that, stupid hurts, and that when you do something dumb, there's a consequence to that. And then as you become an adult, you learn how to function in society. So if you can't let your kids cook breakfast in the kitchen without supervision, if you can't let your kid go down to the dollar store, like the one that's behind me here, and they just built that like a year ago or so. I mean, we had nothing in this all we have is a 4-way stop with stop signs, and there's a gas station, a church, and a post office, and I mean, that's town, right? And but for some reason they built that little dollar store there, and again, I used it. That's why I'm out here, because it's a mile on the road. If you walk from our driveway up to the corner stop sign and then down the road behind me, it's literally 1 mile to that dollar store. Of course, if you're brave enough to run across the farmer's field here, there's no cattle out today. You can take a shortcut. But again, this government overreach, they've just got their hands in your business. And then to telling you got to put GPS trackers on your kids. And it just blows my mind. And again, I was like, for the last 2 or 3 days, I'm like, my blood pressure is probably through the roof, because this is like really making me upset that they would arrest a woman because her kid went to the dollar store while she was, taking one of her other kids to the doctors. I mean, we got up, we got ourselves dressed, we went off to school, and we walked, and it was a long ways. I don't think kindergarten probably wasn't that far, but I know the high school was like a mile from the house, because I was just not quite far enough to ride the bus. You had to live just a little bit further from school to ride the bus. And it just, and why it's happened. Why have we allowed that to happen? And, it used to be that the police and sheriffs and things were, your neighbors and that, folks that you knew. And I just think they're not trained enough, and all this, DEI and everything and wokeness it's gotten out of control. So hopefully that's all gonna be rectified here soon. But, parents are stressing because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble if they're not watching their kids 24/7. And, kids shouldn't be in their bedroom playing games on their phone or their laptop or whatever, 24 hours a day. They need to get out and run around in the woods and climb a tree and pick an apple and find out there's a worm in the middle of it when they're eating it, and that kind of thing. It's just, free range kids is a good thing. And I can't believe, in such a short amount of time, I mean, when I was a kid, we just, we were gone all day. We walked to school, we went out and played. Our parents, as far as I know, had no idea what we were doing. They just figured we had the common sense to not come home with a broken arm or leg. We're at this point now where you got to helicopter your kids 24/7, and you can't let them mow the lawn because the lawnmower is too dangerous. You can't let them walk down to the store because, heaven forbid, leaving a child unsupervised when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. And one of my favorite stories is My Side of the Mountain. And it was written in the late 50s, 59, maybe 1960 or so. And it takes place in the 50s, about a little boy that, runs away from home I believe they lived in New York City, and he goes up into the Catskills, and he lives in a hollowed out tree, and he catches a falcon, and he's like, they never actually say in the book how old he is, but most people figure he's right around 12 years old. And I mean, he's, this is the 1950s, and everybody, it was like required reading when, I was in school, the late 60s, early 70s. And imagine that today, if a kid left home and went and lived in a tree with a pet falcon and was completely on his own. I mean, it's just just blows my mind that, you know, something like that could happen, right? And again, that's just how quickly we've changed in what was considered normal behavior, you know, just a few decades ago, to now you get arrested and put in jail when something like that happens. So, you know, be thinking about that. If you have any ideas of how that we can fix the problem, I sure would like to know, because boy, it's got me aggravated and upset, because it's about freedom and, you know, flexibility and you doing what you want to do when you want to be doing it, right? That's the way I feel about it.